This is Debbie Jones with another just-in-time video. In this second Promethean ActivInspire video, I want to share with you a few more menu items before we get into the tools. On the very top right-hand side, you'll notice something that looks sort of like a snowflake. If you click on it, it turns orange. Click on it again and it's back to blue. This is the design mode icon. In the blue mode, anything that you've created on your flip chart that is locked or animated will act on the blue. It will stay locked or it'll be animated. But when you click to the orange, nothing is animated and nothing is locked. All rights are given to the teacher on the orange mode. So if you think of the orange mode as being the teacher mode and the blue one as being the student mode, that's a good way to think about it. Although most of your design work now in this new ActivInspire program can be done with the blue only. You'll see it's called design mode. No matter which one I click on, it still is called design mode when I put my mouse over it. But you'll understand that a little bit more when you get into the tools. To the right of that, it gives the page number. A flip chart could have many pages to it. On this one so far, I only have one page, but if I were several pages in, it would be nice to know which page I was on. So that's very handy. The next one is a drop down, and it's how this flip chart fits on your computer. Depending on the resolution that a flip chart is created in, you may think that you need to go to fit to width. So if somebody had a different resolution, it may be a little skimpy on your screen. You want to widen it, so you click fit to width. You have many other choices there that you can select, but for the most part, you're going to want to stay on best fit. The next icon is a full screen icon. Look directly above that and you'll see the icons for minimize, and the next one is restore down, and the next one is close. Those will go away if I click on this full screen. I'm going to do that now so you can see what I'm talking about. So there's my full screen mode, and now I no longer have those little icons up at the top. Sometimes people will accidentally click on that and wonder, where are those icons? If you click on the X again, it brings them back. Underneath that is the toolbar. These are the tools that you will be using to create your flip chart. And I'm going to divide that up into several different videos because there are a lot of things you can do with each tool. But I want you to notice at the top of the toolbar, there's a tiny little icon right here. That's called Toolbox Options. It's actually just an options icon. And you'll notice here's another options icon at the top. And over on the far left, this is like a picture of my flip chart. There's another options icon. Wherever you see the options icon, that gives you options for whatever it is sitting on. So this is a flip chart page. That gives me options for this flip chart page. If I were to click on it, you'll see quite a few options that I have for that flip chart page. If I go to right-hand side to the toolbar and I click on that options icon, it's the toolbox options. I will have options for what I want to do with that toolbox. I can dock it to the left, which I will do, so you can see. So if I'm a left-handed person, I may appreciate having it there. It also could be handy if I'm working on the left-hand side of the board. I'm going back to that options, and I'm going to go back to dock it to the right. Clicking on it again, I can choose to dock it to the top. I wouldn't choose to dock it to the top if I'm using this flip chart in a classroom, and the reason I wouldn't would be I would have to walk in front of the flip chart to select a tool. Therefore, I would be blocking the student's view while I'm selecting a tool. So I'm going to go back and find that little menu button again. There it is. I'm going to put it to the bottom. In case of a handicapped child in my classroom, I may prefer to have my toolbar at the bottom so that if they're in a wheelchair or if they are using a wand to be able to click on these icons, this will be easier for them to reach. This is an interactive board. It's really not for me as a teacher as much as it is for my students to be able to interact with the lesson that I'm teaching. So I'm going to go back and click on the menu button, and I'm going to go ahead and dock it back to the right. Now, we've talked about docking it to the right, to the left, to the top, to the bottom, but there's another option. If you put your mouse at the top of the toolbar and you move it over, it's considered floating. I can put it any place I want, and that's considered floating. If I want to get it back to the right or left, all I do is click on the options and I can dock it back. Next to the menu options here, the toolbar options or toolbox options, is a little icon with an arrow pointing up. That will roll the toolbar up so it kind of gets it out of the way. Now what that gives me is it gives me my menu button. We talked about that in the first video. That menu button is exactly like what I see over here: File, Edit, View, Insert, Tools, and Help. And if I click on it, that's what you'll see. There they are. And if I move on the arrow, you'll see the options for File, for Edit, and so on. So that is my menu one. These are left page and right page. This goes to the previous page if I had one before this, and this one goes to the right page. To get my toolbar back, all I do is click on the arrow and it's back. Now there's one more icon I want to show you before we stop this video, and it's the one right to the right of that. It's kind of hard to see, but that is like a push pin, like you were pushing a paper onto a bulletin board with a push pin. It kind of locks my toolbar where it's going to stay put, and when it's amber, it's locked. Now if I click on it, it allows my toolbar, see, to roll back and get out of the way. And if I want the toolbar, all I have to do is move my mouse close to it and it will come back out at me. There we go. But if I don't want to keep chasing for it, if I want it to stay put, I click on that little push pin and I lock it. You'll notice on the left hand side, this is called the browser. This also has an options button and also has a little pen. So I can make this one roll back, or I can bring it back out and I can pin it. It's pinned when it's amber. And that's all we're going to do in the second video. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the first 4 icons in your toolbox.